you go from pageants to working in the film industry very, very quickly. You won Miss India USA, Miss India Worldwide. We always see the glitz and glamour, the beauty on stage, but what goes on behind the scenes?
What people don't realize is that to get to that level, you have to have high achieving tendencies, which is usually patience to do the mundane tasks. You're saying the same dialogue hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times.
When pageant winners or young actresses, they get recognition or fame, sometimes it gets to you.
Because the beauty standards were blonde hair, blue eyes, white skin, you just don't think you're pretty. And sometimes he's like, I wonder if I did the right thing. I was like, Daddy, now
It's too late.
Yeah.
So-and-so was replaced. Somebody's daughter or girlfriend got the role because of the connections. You had a very tough public breakup. Since then, how has your perspective changed?
Women are more likely to commit suicide within a marriage, and men are more likely to commit suicide when they get separated from their partner.
So why are there so many wife jokes if it's more beneficial?
Single women are more successful, single women are happier, single women have more freedom. My dad's gonna watch this and he's gonna be like, "Pray move."
Hello everyone, welcome to yet another episode of the Rising Immigrant Show. I'm your host Jasmine Kaur, and today I have a remarkable guest with me. Her name is Monica Gill. She is an actress, a model, and a pageant winner. And what I like the most about her is she's also a strong community advocate. Allow me to welcome Monica Gill. Monica, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very pleased to be here.
Oh, absolutely. And I'd love to hear about your journey in your own words from you directly. So I'm going to go right back to your childhood, from where it all started. Tell me about little Monica. Tell me about Monica who grew up in Massachusetts.
So surprisingly, Monica was born in Massachusetts, but she grew up in Kansar, Jaipur, Rajasthan.
Oh, interesting.
With her grandparents. And she was a wild child and always causing chaos. My grandma tells me, pata nahi kitto bakriyan chak li aundi sigi, gwandiyan de kare badi randi sigi, this and that. I have very fond memories of my childhood, being very loved, growing up on a farm, study family kheti kardi sigi, and it was nice. At that time, my dad has two sisters and a brother. The older sister, he's the oldest, but the second oldest was married, and his two younger siblings were there. So I think I still have a very close relationship with all of them. It was a nice existence.
Nice. So when did you come back to the United States?
So I did all my schooling here.
Okay.
So maybe 4 or 5 years old.
Got it. And then you were working with a pharmaceutical company and getting ready to go to a med school. So how did pageants happen for you? Out of the blue?
So I used to model in high school, and it was just something my parents put me in without, they thought it would be good for my development. They didn't think it would pick up or become anything. But when I was working for a pharmaceutical company, there was a local community member who was doing Miss India USA and Miss India Teen USA, and she came to a family member to ask if I could participate. The family member communicated with my father. My dad was like, yeah, do it. It'll be fun. That year I was first runner-up. And the following year, same story, I won. And then I went to nationals, won there. And then I went to internationals. By that time, I was already living in India. And I won there as well.
Amazing. So you go from pageants to working in the film industry very, very quickly. Right? You won Miss India USA, Miss India Worldwide. This transition, this decision of working in the film industry, was it an easy one, an obvious one, or was there a discussion in the family?
Oh, there was a big time discussion in the family. My dad, so the reason I moved to India was that my dad had a very close friend who was a silent partner in the agency that I joined.
Acha.
And there was a lot of discussion about like what happens, what the process is. My dad did all his research. It was like a proper, like on my dad's side, like a proper family decision. And it was my grandma who ultimately was like, "Nyanya de cha pure karne hai." So my dad and my fuffurji packed up, came with me to India, set everything up.
Wow.
And then set me up in acting school, and then the rest is history.
No, amazing. So I love that you had the family support from the get-go.
Yeah.
It's important to have that, especially in an industry like yours.
I don't know, so I was never allowed to live on my own. Like I always had a family member with me, and at some points, like now living in New York, it's like the first time I'm living on my own, and like this happened at age 30. I wish I actually did experience all of that on my own. I think I would have had a little bit more insight and just been a little bit more street smart.
Yeah, there's both sides to it.
Yeah.
But, it's your experiences define your narrative, so
Yes.
works out. Now, when we talk about pageants, Monica, we always see the glitz and glamour, the beauty on stage. They're so glamorous to watch. But what goes on behind the scenes? What type of preparation goes in getting ready and getting up on stage? Is it just like, looking pretty, or is there more?
Oh, there's loads more. So it's very true that when a person sees a pageant winner or a model or an actress, they see just the
the
glam.
outside. Yeah.
Yeah. But what people don't realize is that to get to that level, to be an international beauty pageant title holder, or to be at the top of your game as a model or at the top of your game as an actress, you have to have high achieving tendencies, which is usually like patience to do the mundane tasks. You're learning Kathak, day in, day out. You're learning how to move your feet.
Gotcha.
Learning how to walk day in, day out. Like, whether that's keeping books on your head or there's a ruler tied to your back, or, you want to be an actress, you're saying the same dialogue hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. So it's the patience and the ability to get through the boring part, to get through the mundane, to understand that mastery of a skill takes time, and that recognition of the skill comes later.
An important lesson there. I love that. So now when you won these titles, there was fame associated with that, right? You got recognition. So did films happen easily for you? Did the offers come in easily to you, or did you have to get an agent to go talk to some of these people and present yourself?
So I had an agent right after Miss India USA.
Okay.
I had moved after Miss India USA to India, and they helped me prepare for Miss India Worldwide. And immediately after Miss India Worldwide, I was signed to TIP. It was like the pageants happened. Miss India Worldwide happened like June of 2014, and I was signed like 2 months later.
So it happened very quickly for you.
Yeah, but that year, for some reason, luck has a lot to do with it. We can work as hard as we want, but if it's not written in your destiny, it's not going to happen. So it just so happened that that year, it had insane amounts of press.
Acha.
Which, like the pageants in general do. They do have a lot of PR and press that go along with them. But for some reason that year, it was like front page news like everywhere. And I was just like...
And Monica's like, I'll take it.
I mean, I actually didn't know until much, much later the impact of it. I was like in my bubble at the time. So when you don't get a bird's eye view when you're in it. So I didn't learn the impact of that year until now. It's been almost 10 years later. I'm still understanding how things played out, and just connecting the dots.
Maybe it was just meant to be. Yeah.
Could be, but my lucky stars were shining down on me.
Oh, amazing. So, when pageant winners or young actresses, they get recognition or fame, sometimes it gets to you. What has your experience been handling fame or, just being famous?
My experience. That's a very good question. It's been validating. I think as humans, we don't do anything without some need of validation, right? We fall in love because we want to be loved, We study because we want to be deemed as smart, We join pageantry because we want to be considered beautiful. Becoming famous validated a need for me to feel important. And I feel growing up, I went to French Catholic schools and there was no one that looked like me. So by default, because the beauty standards were blonde hair, blue eyes, white to white skin, I'm pretty fair skinned, but it was pale white skin, you just don't think you're pretty.
Right.
And I know that's a very shallow thing, but it does, when you're growing.
That's real.
Yeah.
It's completely real. What you see is what you believe, right? If you don't see people like you, you're never going to think you're one of them.
Exactly. So I think it validated this need in me to be okay, I didn't look like them, but I look like me. And that's fine too. That's pretty too. And I think all of that culminated in this need to, believe that I'm beautiful. There's a lot of psychology and insecurities that play here. I think there was a lot going on mentally, developmentally, emotionally at that time. As a young girl,
anyways, you're trying to find your place in the society, right?
Yeah.
But did that confidence come from within, or did your family have, or your external influences had something to do with that?
Confidence for what? To join pageantry?
Yeah, or, just to think that you're pretty, honestly.
I think when I started modeling, it was something my dad kind of pushed me to, because my sister was a state level athlete for track, and I kind of didn't have a hobby.
Okay.
I would go to school. I was doing decent in school, and this is when I was in middle school, and then I would just kind of watch TV and chill. And my dad was like, she needs to be doing something. And lo and behold, now I do everything. So I think that's how it started. In pageantry, it was more for my development, public speaking, confidence building, ability to walk on stage. When I started doing pageants, I don't think my dad ever imagined me actually
being an actress or
I think for him it was it'll get her out of her shell, it'll be good for her development as a person. My dad's whole thing was to make her well-rounded. My sister was well-rounded. She was doing things Monica should be doing things as well. And it was more of that than she needs to feel pretty or she needs to become an actor. That was never the thing. It was go be social, go do something else. You like makeup, you like dressing up. All right, go have fun. It was more of that.
Nice. So kudos to your dad. You're here today. And we can give him some credit there.
Sometimes, we talk sometimes, and sometimes he's like, I wonder if I did the right thing. I was like, Daddy, now, jo hona si ho gaya. Yeah.
Kya hun nahi soch sakte ki
yeah, jo ho gaya, so ho gaya.
Amazing. Well, we're very proud of you, and I'm glad he made the decision for you. And we see you in the films. So if we talk about the film industry for a minute, Monica, you've acted in a few films, which did great. You've starred against some of the most popular names, especially in the Punjabi film industry. Now, tell me a little bit about the culture inside the industry. Sometimes we hear that so-and-so was replaced, somebody's daughter or girlfriend got the role because of the connections. Have you experienced that or firsthand, or, seen a friend go through that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very normal thing to happen in film. right, and until the film releases and is on the screen, you don't know what's going to happen with it.
Really? And even after you've shot and like...
Yeah, because it's still like there's editing involved, there's dubbing involved, there's a lot that goes into it. And each film has its own destiny, has its own kismat. So, that's what you sign up for. But like, I do have to say, whether or not that happens, you get what you deserve. Like, someone can get a role based on who they know or who they're connected to, but sustaining a career and the longevity that comes with sustaining a career, you can't sustain that based off of who you know.
Right.
There's so many star kids that have come and gone, that just didn't have it. And the ones that stay, it's because they are good. They have put in the hours. They have mastered their skill. So it is what it is.
Rightly said. I'm sure it's easier to get that first break or the first chance or the first introduction to the world. But, like any other career, any other field, you have to put in the hours. You have to put in the work in order for you to be successful. Now, if we talk about the downtime, not many people know that there could be like a year or two between two projects or two films. Sometimes you're getting ready for it actively. Sometimes there's passive downtime. What's your take on that? How do you stay motivated if it has ever happened to you?
From when Sardarji 2 released to when Firangi started, there was over a year gap. And it's just part of how things work. Thankfully, not at that time, but like now I have a lot of other things going on. Plus, I'm not actively pursuing films, but like, I don't know, like I was traveling and dancing and I had friends and acting was never my be all end all. Like I always knew that like I was not going to be there forever and that is not where it was going to finish. Like I always had that mentality. So I didn't have this like, oh my God, what's happening type of thing. I was like, I'm here.
Like, oh, if it doesn't work out, I don't know what's going to happen to me. So that was never the case.
No. And I still have that mindset about everything. Like I know regardless of what happens, like I'll be taken care of. And that security, thanks to my father. So like, it never felt like bad. I was just like, oh, this isn't happening. Time to go do this. And like, I did. Like I traveled for the pageant or, actually I traveled a lot for the pageant and I developed myself in other ways.
Got it. And if we talk about, your experience working with some of the big names, how has your experience working with Diljit Dosanjh?
I mean, working with him, you understand like why he is where he is. He's been in the industry, I believe, for over 20 years.
Yeah.
He's put in the work.
Time. Yeah.
It doesn't happen overnight, and that's the lesson that you learn. And even if you're getting incrementally better each day, you're moving towards something. And he takes his craft seriously. He takes his work seriously. He understands how things work. And it was a huge learning opportunity to work with him.
That's wonderful. Monica, if we talk about, and all these things, I'm just curious about them as a person who watches like a lot of movies and a lot of film stars online. It just intrigues me. When we look at, let's say, airport pictures, I see stars, all dressed up, looking, perfect, and their poses are exceptional, they're walking gracefully. And I'm like, how do they do it? Because when I go to the airport, I have my hair up in a bun.
Yeah.
I'm wearing my sweatpants and I have one kid on my, hip right here.
Yeah.
And I'm dragging my luggage. I don't look as glamorous, not even close. So how much of it is like constructed? What do you think? Like, is it like genuine PR? Tell me a little bit about how organic the PR is in the industry.
So first and foremost, there's a whole staff that an actor has, right? So like no celebrity is going to be going somewhere with a child stuck to their hip. They're going to have nannies, and there's going to be a stylist who takes care of everything. In India, you have cheaper labor, so there would be other people packing, and because that's what you do full time, you tend to figure out how to present yourself, what looks the best, how to go through things, how to take a picture. You know, it just happens. I think now that airport looks have become a thing, people pay more attention to it. I think when I was there, they weren't. And like Chandigarh Airport and Amritsar Airport don't even have paparazzi. So like I was flying from Bombay to Punjab, like and back.
Like, do you wish you had some back then?
No, I like sleeping on the flight.
Okay, good. So you walk out with like an eye mask up here on your head.
I would still be presentable simply because people ask for pictures.
Sure.
And you don't want to be obnoxious to the people who put you where you are. So, yeah, but like I'm just glad like I'm not there for this whole like paparazzi
Culture.
airport look culture.
Yeah, I know there's like pages dedicated to
Airport look.
And I'm like, this must be like a real profession, especially for the PAPs now. Going back to, what drives you? You've been in pageants, you've been in the film industry. What is something that keeps you going? And you said something about you always knew that this was not the only thing. You had other interests. What are the other things that drive you and keep you going?
So I was a science student, and I knew at some point, like, I wanted to continue to pursue that. So, now I'm working in clinical research. I work in gynecology, oncology, doing my MPH at Columbia. I was working now I volunteer because I'm so busy. I do it on a volunteer basis, the Sikh Human Rights Group that has ECOSOC status at the UN. And like, as a human, we're multifaceted. There are different sides to us.
Right.
And I think it's important to discover and develop each side and to really enjoy what you're doing. That doesn't mean that there's not going to be boring aspects to it. But having the patience to get through that and understanding that success lies on the other end of mastery. And it's the repeated like things over and over and over again, day in and day out going to work that kind of get you there. And it's that, I think.
Very wonderful. Although I don't want to like stereotype actresses, but you hardly hear, people in the industry going in for a master's at Columbia. So that's very novel. Did you always wanted to do that, or that just came along?
Well, I always knew that I wanted to pursue higher education. I just didn't know when, where, and how, right? And I didn't really plan. They say you make plans and God laughs. So I kind of just like went with it. I studied for the GREs again, day in, day out, did the boring stuff, the application. And I only applied to Columbia. I didn't even apply anywhere else. But I decided to do it and I did it. And now it's the day in, day out, doing the studying, doing the readings, the boring stuff.
And in the middle of all this, how do you keep yourself grounded? What's your spiritual practice?
I would like to believe that my relationship with God is a private one, but I have a deep, deep relationship with God. How I practice what I do, I think I would like, that's one part of my life that I keep very private.
As it should be, honestly. Like, spirituality is so personal, and it's really what it does for you. And, I love the fact that, it should work for you.
Yes. How I practice my faith, or how I practice Sikhi, or how deeply I follow it, that's personal, that's mine, and it's not up for, discussion or dissection by anyone. But the fact that God keeps answering my prayers over and over again should be sign enough that I'm doing something right. Beautiful.
So, Monica, if I talk about your personal life for a moment.
Yes.
I don't know if you were expecting this.
No, everything is up, like fair game.
Yeah. So I know you had a very tough public breakup. And you've talked about that in your previous interviews. Since then, how has your perspective changed? And has it helped you reprioritize some of the things that you looked at? Like, has it changed your overall, the way you think about things? Or
Yes. First and foremost, I think with healing, you understand that the person you so deeply were in love with is pretty ordinary. It was that your love and likeness of them that made them extraordinary. Two, I think one of the greatest insights you get through healing is you realize that you had something to do with the relationship falling apart. You understand where your own faults were. And I think that was an important insight. And most remarkably, I didn't know how to be in a relationship. Like, that was my first real, true, long-term relationship. And I didn't know how to make it work. And three, I think I've understood that wanting to get married or wanting to be in a relationship simply due to social stigma is a recipe for disaster. I've seen and heard of so many marriages falling apart, and the ones that last are the ones that in my friends group that I've seen last are the ones that are actually based on genuine friendship. They've known each other a long time. They've given it time. The relationship has developed slowly. And I've observed that, and I find that really just incredible. And that doesn't mean they don't have their ups and downs. They do. Yeah. But the fact that it's lasted as long as it has is, I think, what's the word? Like, onus, gives onus to the fact that, they have that deep-rooted friendship. Fourth, I've learned and realized that marriage is more beneficial for men than it is for women. Not just career-wise or financially, but psychologically and emotionally as well. Women are able to build communal relationships outside of their marriage. Men are not able to. The closest person to a man after his mother is his spouse. And men do not have the ability to open up and be as vulnerable to other people as they are to their wife. So I forgot, I just wrote a paper on it actually, and I forget the exact statistics, but women are more likely to commit suicide within a marriage, and men are more likely to commit suicide when they get separated from their partner.
Really? Wow, that's an interesting research point.
Yeah, and there's all these statistics on health, like married men are healthier than unmarried men, married men are happier.
So why are there so many wife jokes? If it's more beneficial for the men, honestly, they should glorify the wives and the women.
I have no idea, but I think the way society works, we live in a patriarchal society, but single women are more successful, single women are happier, single women have more freedom.
There you go.
I mean, my dad's gonna watch this and he's gonna be like, but truth be told, it's a fact. In today's relationships and marriages are very different from our parents' generation.
Yeah, very different.
The world was much bigger and our parents were much more innocent. They didn't have the same experiences that we have. In today's world, due to the connectivity, internet, our parents didn't have internet, our parents didn't have social media. The world has become much smaller. The options have increased. And, people are going through things, going through traumas and becoming jaded much more quickly. The magic in the fairy tale is dying.
It's interesting you mentioned that. I also read another study about the women of our age. Although we have more, we have higher degrees, we went in for, careers, and we have better romantic prospects, but we're still less happier than our previous generation. And, the reason for that is one of the things that you said, that we have more choices and we're exposed to more. And I feel like anything, anything goes off track, or if we don't get the things the way we would like them, we flip, right? It's not easy for us to accept adversity or deal with it.
I agree. I'm guilty of it too, like something not going my way and I'm like, I'm out, you know? Versus our parents, you know, jithe mangta jithe bya karta, and like they found their fairy tale there. You know, they found their magic there. Like I look at my mom and dad and they grew up together, you know, they still have that innocent love. And it's so, it's really nice to look at and observe. And I do agree with you that our generation is less likely to just stick it out and make things work.
Yeah, we live in this world of instant gratification.
Exactly.
If something doesn't work out, if it doesn't give us instant happiness, we're like, sorry, off I go. Anyways, if I talk about finding love when you're in the film industry, right? Many people think that it gets easier. You know, once you become more popular, you're pretty, you have all the attention, it's easier to find a partner. Now, my experience is not a lot, but I have some experience in this field, and I know it gets harder, right? What's your experience? What do you have to say about that? Yeah, Monica needs another sip of coffee before that.
I think initially, like people have a lot more interest. So initially, your prospects increase. Like the first step, like, okay, the introduction, and everybody's interested, and they're like, oh, right. Like Monica, like, yeah, like we want to meet her, this and that. And then, because then they realize, oh, she's actually more boring than we thought. But it's true. Like, oh, all she does is sleep and work out twice a day and go to work. Like.
But what else? Like, aren't we all doing that?
I don't know.
What's the expectation? What expectations do you see out there?
I don't know what people expect, but I think what happens is when the image kind of fades and the reality sets in. I think that's the issue. When in reality, you're just like everyone else.
Maybe they have preconceived notions on what a beauty queen or an actress feels or looks like or like behaves like.
And I think exactly. So when that preconceived notion is proven to be false and they're like, oh, she's just like me. And they're like, And I think that's where they're like, And it's interesting because if they look at who you are as a person, they'll see the traits that enabled you to get to that level. Like your high achieving tendencies, your dedication to your work, your incredible amounts of patience to master a skill.
Commitment to your community. I mean, there's so many things. Yeah.
But it's like, because the interest is shown for a certain reason, when that reason becomes like, it's just poof. But the bottom line is like, jithe kismat likhiya ta likhiya, right? And sometimes you just have to let the magic happen, let things happen serendipitously, and just, more importantly, have faith. And if it doesn't happen, good.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to what you started saying. You said single women are happier. So I'm taking that.
No, I'm very happy.
I actually read another study and it said that, people say ki vyah kara lo, khushi mildi hai na, bacche kar lo. Like this is like a key indicator for happiness pretty much everywhere. Especially Indian parents is like...
Yeah, my parents have stopped. But they used to, yeah.
But the study actually said that you're equally likely to be unhappy being married and having kids as you are being single. They're 50-50 odds hai. So it's not even like, 40-60.
So we forget that happiness is our own job. It's not a partner's job to make us happy. It's not our children's job to make us happy. Like you have intense narcissistic tendencies if you expect your happiness to come from your spouse and children. You have to be happy on your own. You have to feel fulfilled on your own. And like, then when you meet someone great, you both build on it. And the other thing is this whole thing of love. Like, the person you marry, there needs to be more than just love there.
Right. The word love is so glorified. I don't even believe in it.
It makes me like gross out when people like there's a lot of like serendipitous magic, fairy tale, yada yada yada, but you have to have compatibility in the sense like, you both know where you guys are going, you have the same background. And I know this is really old school because our parents really say it, but having a similar like enables more compatibility.
Yeah, you have a better understanding of one's career, and also I feel like shared value system is the most important.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you share like fundamental values, like how you care for people around you, what you think about, that is a very important driver for a relationship. You might think this is a priority, the other person might think the other one's a priority. That really disconnects people.
No, you want to know the biggest issue in relationships that cause the most amount of divorces? It's not having the same mindset about money, about how to handle your finances. And it's also like the most awkward thing to talk about in relationships. And I mean, I don't say it, like the research says it. So people who like don't have similar outlooks or similar views on how they handle money, how they spend money, that's where the biggest issues come.
Oh, well, we're going to keep it at that. And we're going to go back to some fun stuff.
Okay.
I have 2 more questions for you, and then we're going to go to our fun section. That's the this or that section, which is a complete surprise for you. So if you were to look back at your journey, are there any regrets? Is there anything you do differently?
No.
Oh, that's amazing.
I'm
a good place to be at.
I'm so happy my life happened the way it did. Even like all the bad stuff, the good stuff. Actually, I didn't really have anything bad happen in my life. Everything that happened taught me something about myself. And like, I'm in a place where I understand myself. I understand where I'm going. And I've just gotten to a place where I'm like, okay, like I'm good. And it's a very, I don't know if it's my mid-30s kind of vibe. Like you just kind of get there after.
I don't know. People like to say 30s are the new 20s. I say 30s are the 30s. You feel more confident. You feel 20s, like for me, it was like the most confusing time of my life. I didn't know like where I was, who I was with, there's so many uncertain things. But 30s, I feel like you suddenly have this sense of self.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you realize what you stand for, what's important for you.
Yes.
And where you want to focus your energy.
Stronger boundaries, less likely to deal with people's bullshit,
Right.
very...
Go to bed at 9 p.m.
It's funny, like my friends group, and we were talking about like some event that's happening tomorrow, and everyone was like, but we go to sleep at 10. Like it's because it starts
That's me. That's me.
Starts at 11, and everyone's like, but we're gonna be in bed then. And I'm just like, and that's literally factual.
Yeah, so you just make friends who go to bed at the same time.
Well,
I mean, pretty much. I've come to that.
The interesting thing is that I think my therapist said this to me, that you attract people at the frequency that you're on. You know what they say, like attracts like, in birds of a feather flock together. So if you want to learn more about yourself, look at your friends.
Acha.
Or if you want to know where you're going, or if you're going to be successful or not, look at your friends or the people you spend most of your time with.
I think I've read it somewhere that you become an average or mean of the 5 people you spend your time with.
Yes.
So completely true. I completely get that.
So be very picky with who you allow in your inner circle.
Well, in my inner circle, I have people who go to bed by 9, right? Who eat their dinner by 6, wake up, go for morning walks, and then drinks a lot of chai.
Yeah,
Those are my people.
My mom is one of those. Okay. Right. She likes her 5 a.m. walks.
Nice. So who are you closest with in your family?
So the closest people, my mom, my dad, my sister, my brother, and my grandma. Those are the people I can drop everything for and just show up. Like nobody comes before them. And then that's it.
Oh, wonderful. I have one last question for you before we go to our fun section. Upcoming presidential elections. How are you feeling about it? Is there something you'd like to share with us?
Yes. How am I feeling about it? I'm feeling very jaded. But here's the most important point. I want to bring everybody that's watching this back to the attack that happened on Capitol Hill when, the presidency was, Trump lost the presidency and it went to Biden. The Proud Boys. They're a white supremacist group, and they have existed before Trump came to power. There are other groups like them that exist in America. they're not new. Those sentiments transcend American society, and they're very deep rooted. With Trump, however, they were given the courage to act, given the courage to rise, given the courage to boil up over. Now, with a second Trump presidency, what is going to happen to these sentiments? They're going to be even more fired up. What does that mean for our loved ones? My brother wears a turban. My dad wears a turban. My grandma walks around in a chunni and a suit. Are they going to be safe? Is my brother going to be safe when he, takes the train to work every morning? Is my dad going to be safe when he, goes to work? Is anybody going to say anything to them? How, that's what we have to look at. And just because I understand that on the global stage, there's a lot going on and it's disappointing and it breaks our heart. But don't burn your own house down for the sake of your neighbor. And because letting your house burn is not going to do anything for your neighbor. Preserve your home first. Focus on your home first. Don't let it go to shit. And we are at a we're at a fulcrum. It can go either way. We can either preserve democracy as it is, or God knows what's going to happen. And the only thing we can be sure of is that it's going to be more of what happened and more extreme of what happened during the first Trump presidency, if he's elected again. So those of you who are thinking about, being absentee or voting third party, think about it, and think about it hard. What is that going to mean? Even if by chance, God forbid, there is a second Trump presidency, what does that mean for your loved ones, for your grandparents? Those of you in Yuba City, California, your grandparents taking a walk in the park. The Midwest. What does that mean? What is that going to look like?
Well, it's a food for thought. Everybody needs to decide very soon. It's coming upon us. Shifting gears, I'm going to go to a fun this or that section.
Okay.
These are some popular questions I got from my friends' groups when I told them I was going to come meet you.
Okay.
So they've sent me their notes and I put them all together.
Oh, okay.
So first we're going to go to your beauty choices.
Okay.
Red lips or nude?
Oh, both of those are my favorites. Red lips.
Red lips. Eyeliner or natural glow?
No eyeliner. I don't like eyeliner.
Heels or sneakers?
Sneakers.
Bun or waves? Just depends on where you're going.
Waves.
Like that. Now, if you talk about film preferences, Bollywood or Pollywood?
Neither.
Okay. Rom-com or thriller?
Thriller.
Dance or ballads?
I'm a Kathak dancer, so.
Oh, there you go. Binge watching Netflix or running a marathon?
Binge watching Netflix.
That's it. Okay, and if we talk about music, pop music icons, AP Dhillon or Karan Aujla?
Karan Aujla.
Diljit or Amy Virk?
Diljit.
Neeru Bajwa or Sonam Bajwa?
Neeru Bajwa.
Between the two Bajwas. Okay, cool. Punjabi pop or hip hop?
Punjabi pop.
Concerts or comedy shows?
Comedy shows.
Okay. Now some lifestyle choices. Fasting or keto?
Fasting.
Yoga or Pilates?
Pilates.
Cooking or takeout?
Takeout.
Okay. You're a New Yorker, officially.
Yeah.
Adventure or spa?
Adventure.
Okay. Some nature moments. Do you prefer sunrises or sunsets?
Sunsets.
Are you a beach girl or mountain girl?
Ooh. Beach.
Okay. Camping or bonfire?
Bonfire.
Do you prefer a picnic or a rooftop party?
Rooftop party.
Oh, always. In terms of social media, Instagram or Facebook?
Instagram.
Okay. TikTok or YouTube?
TikTok.
Memes or challenges?
Memes.
Okay. And if you were to break down your skincare routine, what is it?
Oh, boy.
Do we need another segment for this or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you honestly want me to?
Yeah. Go for it.
Okay. Where do I start?
There's a lot. Oh my God. That's amazing. Go for it.
Okay, so in the mornings, I work from home, so I have the privilege of taking my time with my morning routine. I'm not going to say any brands, but so we have a sulfur-based face wash that I leave on as a mask for about 10 minutes, and then I wash it off. Then I put on my vitamin C under eye cream and face serum, and then put moisturizer on top. And then I do my high-frequency light therapy. Then in the evenings, I wash my face. Between days, like one day I'll do my Trentanoin and moisturizer, and then like my lymphatic drainage massage. Or the next day I'll do my glycolic acid and lotion and face moisturizer, and then my lymphatic drainage massage. I also do face yoga in the mornings.
Nice.
And then I have like sulfur-based clay masks, and then I have my, what is it called? BCAs, like your acids that you do your peel with. And I take my supplements.
There's a lot that goes into it.
There's a lot.
I love that. And if you talk about cleaning from the inside, what do you follow? Any specific diet, or what type of like foods do you prefer?
So in the mornings, it's oats with chia seeds, almonds, granola, and fruit and peanut butter. Lunch and dinner is salads, fresh salads. I like my pomegranate juice. I like my fresh vegetable juices. I like to work out, do lots of cardio. That's a detox in itself.
Do you go to the gym every day, or alternate days?
I mean, I didn't.
How much do you work out?
Today I didn't go, but I try to go every day.
Very nice.
And it's usually that's where my evenings are spent. Like if I'm not studying, if I'm not working, or if I don't have like some sort of speech or paper to write, then I'm at the gym.
Oh, well, we love that. One other thing which I completely forgot about earlier, your movie Uchchadar Babidanagda released earlier this year. Tell me a little bit about that. How did that project happen for you, and why did you choose to pick up that project?
Interesting. Again, off camera we'll talk about how the kismet of that film, but it's funny because when I got some sort of like back in 2014 when the conversations were happening about whether or not I'd be allowed to move to India, one of the songs that I would listen to try to manifest was Uchchadar Babe Nanak, the Gurdas Mann version.
Acha.
Plus like there was another Nachatra Gill song, Sahib Janadiya Manne, but that one was a big one that I listened to like after my part while I was driving. And randomly, Taranpaji like messaged me on Instagram, and I'm like, okay. Oh, sorry, no, he WhatsApped me.
Acha.
And I was like, okay. So I gave him my US number. He calls, and he's like, I have this film. This is what it's called. And when I heard the name, I was like, yeah, I'm interested. And then I remember I was like in upstate New York with my friends. It was 2023, towards the end of the year. And by this time, like, he had called in August to tell me about this film.
Achha.
And then he disappeared. I don't know where he went. And I was just like, okay, like, maybe it's not going to happen. Like, I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, it's part of the process in films. Like, you know, people talk about projects, and it's very difficult to get a film off the floor, complete it, to release it. It's not for the meek. So I was like, okay, didn't happen, whatever. And I'm there, and he's like, can we talk? I'm like, yeah, sure, give me a call. So I go upstairs. Thankfully, we had Wi-Fi. He WhatsApp called me, and he's like, telling me who's part of the film, what's happening, this and that. And he's like, can you come shoot in 2 weeks? I'm like, what? Like, I work full time. He's like, man, I need you. Don't do this to me. I'm like, okay. And then thankfully, you know, my work, you know, helped me out. I had enough vacation days, went and shot it. and the rest is history. But that's what I mean. Like, what's meant for you finds you.
And how has the response been so far?
I think it did well outside of the U.S. I don't think it did well inside the U.S. I probably should not say that on camera.
No, that's all right. It's okay. I mean, it's a different type of concept. And I think sometimes it takes 1, 2, sometimes 3, 4 movies for people to get used to a different concept or a different way of looking at things. So, and we all go to the theaters seeking something, and it's different for different people. So nothing personal, I guess.
I'm not concerned too much.
Good. Well, thank you so much, Monica. I had such a fun time talking with you. Thank you so much for sharing your insights. And I'm glad you came all the way to my studio.
Thank you. It was a pleasure being here. Good luck. I hope your show is very successful, and I hope everyone likes this.
Thank you. Thank you so much.